Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to congratulate tonight's inductees into the Hall of Fame. I know a couple of them pretty well personally, and the whole group is so deserving. So how about a preemptive round of applause for all those? I also want to thank the Hall of Fame committee who met early this morning, and will announce the class for next year. I want to thank Stu Alderman and Darren Dystamars, who are both from Michigan. Actually, Darren is the younger brother, smaller brother of Stu. I did a twins joke last year. I'm not going to do that again. I'm your president for just another day or two. Then Dave over here from Dallas will be taking over. And I really appreciate that, Dave. Appreciate your involvement. So without me talking anymore and dragging the evening out, I just thank all of you for attending tonight, and I hope you enjoy the festivities.
We are fortunate to have so many great partners that work with us to help make this game the best it can be. Tonight we would like to thank and recognize Louisville Slugger for donating each Hall of Fame inductee and a great bat that they will be given in recognition for their Hall of Fame honor. Ladies and gentlemen, if you would, a round of applause for Louisville Slugger. Also, I am the grandson and a son of 3 individuals who served in our armed forces. A grandfather that was in the Navy, a grandfather that was in the Air Force, and a father who was in the Army. One of the great things that this association does is we really do make it very clear how much we appreciate, love, and respect what our veterans have done for us year in and year out. One of the best shirts that we've ever had at USA Softball is one that simply says, "We honor veterans." So ladies and gentlemen, if you are a veteran, we would ask at this time, would you please rise and be recognized so we can thank you for the service you've given to this country. For our invocation today, I would like to introduce to you a star softball player who has played on Team USA since 2011. She is a stellar athlete who plays college softball at the University of Florida and is currently on the Oklahoma City Spark Women's Professional Fast Pitch Squad, and one of the coolest people I get to know. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage, Michelle Moultrie.
Let's pray. Lord, we just thank you for tonight. We thank you for bringing everyone here safely, safe travels. I pray that you would just bless the food, bless this time here, just with friends getting together, family and friends honoring the inductees. I pray that the inductees would just feel loved and admired and just thanked for all that they've done for USA Softball over the years. And so we just pray for a great night and a great honoring of the new inductees. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your dinner. And we'll begin the Hall of Fame program, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for us to get started. As you're finishing up your meal tonight, we would like to begin this program this evening. And the first thing we would like to do is take a moment to recognize all of our current Hall of Fame members who are here this evening. To our current Hall of Fame members, we thank you all for your contributions to our great sport and for everything you have done for USA Softball. After tonight, this elite group moves to 449 people, and we are proud to honor them for their commitment to the sport of softball. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the current members of the National Softball Hall of Fame. Current members, please rise to be recognized. It is now my honor to introduce to you our co-MC, Mr. Stu Umpire. Stu is the commissioner for USA Softball of Metro Detroit. He is also the Hall of Fame committee chair. There is no denying Stu's commitment to this association, as each and every year he makes it just a little bit better. He is a tremendous teammate and is also one of my very best friends. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Stu Alderman.
Thank you, Darren. As we prepare to begin tonight's festivities, we're going to do something different, and we're going to take a trip down memory lane to reminisce a few Hall of Fame highlights from the past.
First, did you know that in 1957 was the first year of Hall of Fame inductions when 4 individuals were inducted? 2 men's fast pitch players and 2 women's fast pitch players.
Did you know that it was current Hall of Famer Marty McGuire who introduced me to now Hall of Famer Jenny Finch? I sheepishly walked up to her, scared to death, and I asked her for her autograph. Kindly, she gave it to me, shaking like I was 8 to 10 years old. I walked away, and she says to me, "Are you serious?" I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't say anything. What did I do? What did I say? I turned around, and I said, yes. She says to me, "You're going to come all this way and get my autograph, and you're not going to ask for a picture?" I said, "Miss Finch, I was too scared to ask. Get over here." I took a picture with her. It was my screensaver for 8 years.
Also, did you know that our first sponsors in the Hall of Fame were inducted in 1976? They were Charles Hurd from Sealmasters, Fast Pitch, Illinois; William Farr, Men's Major Industrial; William Simpson, Raybestos, Connecticut; Fred Zollner, the Men's Major from Detroit; Zollner Pistons from Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Did you know that the first non-Michigan individual I met, ASA back in the time, was one Andy Dooley? Did you know Andy Dooley is a fan of Virginia Tech? We are on the bus in Mobile, Alabama, heading to the conference. He introduced himself. "How you doing? What's your name?" "Andy Dooley, Pete, Mount Virginia." We sat and talked for a little bit. Then he said, "Excuse me one second. Mr. Bus Driver, Virginia Tech kicks off, I believe it's at 3 o'clock. And it's getting close to the time. We're going to get to the hotel on time." Driver says, "Well, I think it'll be close." Calmly, professionally, Mr. Dooley says, "Sir, I don't think you understand the gravity of the situation. We need to get there before kickoff. And I'm not the one you have to worry about." And he turns and he looks at his wife, Miss Brenda, who had a beautiful but very stern look on her face. Bus driver looked at her. We got there on time.
The National Softball Hall of Fame is filled with incredibly talented and gifted individuals who have made their mark on and off the softball field. They are our heroes. They inspire us. And if we're lucky, they are our friends. This time, please watch the video boards.
They will come, and they have over 120,000 each year. The National Softball this great love for softball will not only endure, but flourish.
Thank you to the national staff who have put that video together. It is an honor to be here tonight to honor these 8 individuals and 1 team into the USA Softball Hall of Fame. To begin our Hall of Fame induction, I would like to commence with a prelude established many years ago by the illustrious Hall of Famer and former National Staff member, Mr. Bill Plummer. The history of sports had been marked by the occasional appearance of an athlete who seems to have been touched by a magical hand, whose extraordinary skills are embellished by an intangible spark of greatness. An athlete who seems destined to leave an indelible stamp on his or her chosen avocation. Greatness assumes many shapes and forms, like subtle colors blending into a deep blue hue, but in any form, greatness separates the legends from the mere mortals in the arena of sports. Proficiency and skill can be honed by practice and dedication, but the real outstanding athletes, the Hall of Famers, come to the arena with greatness already programmed into their personalities. The purpose of the National Hall of Fame and Honor is to recognize and honor those men and women who have played so brilliantly and competed so well during their careers, managed, umpired, sponsored, or provided just that special touch to the game of softball, and who at the same time have contributed to the development and growth of their sport.
So let's begin. Our first inductee for the National Softball Hall of Fame is an individual who was one of the premier fast pitch players at all levels, including Team USA, Valerie Arioto. Earning her place among USA softball legends, Valerie Arioto gained the Hall of Fame tagline after a long and storied career, competing for the USA women's national team. Throughout her 11 seasons representing Team USA, she helped the USA to 13 medals that included 4 World Cup gold medals, 3 Pan American Games gold medals, 2 World Championship gold medals, before capping her career with an Olympic silver medal at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games. Extending her impact beyond the field, Arioto served as an athlete representative on the USA Softball Board of Directors for various years, where she played a key role in the growth and development of the sport of softball. And as Stu mentioned, she is also one of those people who, when you get to know her, or even meet her for the first time, she's your friend for life. Tonight, Valerie becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Valerie Arioto.
Good evening. I played in so many games, but somehow this is more nerve-wracking than that. So, it's so great to be back in Oklahoma City. I feel like this was my second home for so long. So thank you, Oklahoma City, for hosting this really amazing event for us. When I thought about what I wanted to say tonight, I realized anyone who knows me probably knows that I've spoken my piece about everything already. But one thing I can't say enough is thank you to all the people who made this possible. Thank you to USA Softball, the place I grew up and became the person I am today. Thank you to Craig and Chris and the USA staff for putting in countless and often thankless hours making USA Softball the best it can be. Thank you to the past USA teams who led the way and showed me what it not only meant, but what it looked like to represent our country. Thank you to my teammates for all the laughs and all other emotions that we got to share together. Thank you to commissioners, board members, and everyone involved in this great program for hosting tour stops, clinics, and all the other various ways that you showed your support, not only so I could live out my dream, but to grow the sport, get your communities excited about softball, and to make it possible for the youth to see their role models and be accessible, and to see that it's possible. Thank you to Laura Ricciardoni, who not only threw me 1,000 live pitches, but for being a genuine and unconditional friend through it all. I didn't think I would get emotional. Thank you to Coach Erickson for believing in me even when the times I didn't believe in myself, and for your unwavering belief in what you believe in and being passionate about the process and doing it the right way. Thank you to my Uncle Paul and my Auntie Laura for traveling miles just to see me play and for doing anything for me always. Thank you to my parents, who I could not repay for everything they've done and for all the amazing experience we got to share together. Thank you for all the time you put in, for always being there, and for traveling the world with me. I keep trying to find the words to express how grateful I am to have people in my life who were there through the best times and the hard times also. But Mom and Dad, thank you for giving me every opportunity in your power and for loving me so deeply. Thank you to so many friends, coaches, mentors, family. Thank you to the people in my life that helped me through retirement and continuing to be there every day. Maybe that's the theme of my speech, of how grateful I am for the amount of people who gave time, energy, and love to me without expecting anything back. I am forever in your debt. It was such an honor to represent my country and to wear USA on my jersey. I still get the chills when I hear the national anthem, realizing how blessed I was to have every opportunity that I was given. I'm so honored to be amongst such a prestigious group of inductees tonight. And to wrap up, thank you again to USA Softball, and I can't wait to cheer on the next generation in the 2028 LA Olympics. Go Team USA.
Our second inductee represents the blue to the highest degree, both on and off the field, and that is Jim Craig. Mr. Craig began his renowned career as an umpire in 1978, which was highlighted with working as the umpire-in-chief for 61 national championships and 5 international championships while serving as the committee chairman of the UIC Clinic in 2007 to 2021. Known for not only his contribution on the field, but for off the field as well, Jim contributed to the reformat of National Umpire Schools in 2018, which has proved to be a huge success for the USA Softball Umpire program. His accomplishments have earned him various awards over the years, including the Merle O. Butler Award for Excellence, the Region 2 Award of Excellence, while also being inducted into 3 Halls of Fame, including Metro Buffalo ASA, Western New York Softball Hall of Fame, and USA Softball of New York Hall of Fame. I was very fortunate that my first national experience in Mount Pleasant, Michigan, featured Jim Craig as the UIC. I learned from him as well, patience, understanding, but having a strong hand when needed. And just like I mentioned with Valerie, once you have Jim Craig as your friend, you to have him as a friend for life. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight Jim becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Jim Craig.
Kevin Ryan says, no way, I'm going to make 5 minutes. We're going to do it now for you, Kevin. First of all, I'd like to congratulate all of my fellow inductees, and I'm privileged to be standing next to you on the stage. Also, thanks to CEO Craig Kress and all the USA Softball. I've had a chance to work with many of you over the years, and it's just Class A #1 organization. Thanks to the Hall of Fame committee, Stu, your committee, and all of them that allowed me to have this award. You know, you take a look at a prestigious award and you say to yourself, my goodness gracious, it's just for one person. It's just to him or to her. But basically, we know that there are a lot of moving parts, a lot of opportunities that you can create, a lot of situations that are created for you by others. So I'd like to kind of go over just a couple of people over the years that have helped me stand on this podium facing you tonight. First of all, the commissioner who's not with us anymore, passed away, Mr. Ed Lindsay, Metro Buffalo, gave me a lot of opportunities and appointed me the UIC of Metro Buffalo in 1992. Merle Butler, who appointed me to this National Umpire staff in 97. Another great staff member by the name of Henry Pollard, who I learned an awful lot. How to address groups, how to be a strong instructor, and how to work with people and train umpires. Bernie Perfado was also on that staff. I happened to meet him long before any of the others. And at my first National Umpire School, he sat down with me at the airport as we were leaving, spent a lot of time with him. He gave me some great ideas, and from that time on, I felt if I ever got to a situation where I was working with other people, I'd want to keep my ears open and listen and help like Bernie did. There are kind of three teams. The first team I was able to be part of was the National Umpire staff. And you know, at that time, they took a look at me walking in here, knowing nothing, and they said, you need 2 mentors, not just one mentor. You really need 2 mentors. And I got them, and I got the best. A gentleman who's no longer with us by the name of Norm Davis, who many of you know from the state of Maine, became very, very good friends. And another gentleman who is sitting at our table tonight with his lovely wife, Sue, by the name of Jerry Hansen, who took me under his wing, showed me exactly what needs to be done, and I'll speak a little bit more about him as we go along. Then we got involved with the deputy supervisors, and I looked around and I thought to myself, gee whiz, I'm here in 2006, working for a gentleman that I'm going to talk about a little bit more, by the name of Kevin Ryan, and we had some hard times at the beginning. It was a difficult time to be accepted, so we had to prove ourselves, and we did. And at that time, we had Phil Gutierrez was on that staff. He later was replaced by Malcolm Boyles when he became a commissioner of Southern California. Also, L.P. Montgomery, who is still on the current staff and became a very, very, very good friend of mine over the years. And that's what happens when you work with these people so long. They help you, and you help them, hopefully. And it turns out friendship, long-time friendship. Those 2 gentlemen are here tonight. Malcolm, of course, is not. The last on that staff, and absolutely not the least, was a young lady by the name of Julie Johnson. we lost her way too soon. Hopefully, she's up taking a look and saying, my goodness, Jim, you better do it the right way this time. She was, again, the most passionate person about softball, tremendous instructor. Took a lot of time with umpires. In fact, a lot of times Kevin thought maybe it might be a little bit too much time. It's time for lunch. But Julie was that type of a passionate individual. We move on to the current deputy directors. And they all know my prowess of technology, well, it's little to none. We have three fine individuals that work very hard at that end and has made this staff a lot better. That's Jerry McGuire, Dave Chandler, and Greg Pohl. And Steve McCown is our news member. Didn't get a chance to work with Steve on that level, but for National Umpire Schools of Ed. And also my fellow Easterner, we were the Eastern Mafia at the time, that's Randy Strauss. And also, last but not least, Mr. Steve Nelson, who we call the Navigator. That's a story for another time. And I had the great privilege, now that she's not with us anymore, she is now the Commissioner of Southern California, working with Chris Drum, one of the best umpires I've ever seen, and one of the best instructors I've ever seen. All those people helped me become better and better and better, showed me the way. Again, there are three people very quickly I'd like to thank. Mr. Bill Humphrey. Bill was a clinician back in '81 when I first started, just umpire. And he became my representative at a couple of men's major fast pitch, and I was scared to death because he has a tremendous reputation. He came up to me and he said, Jim, I'll be talking umpires, but this is your show, your job, do the best you can. And he stood by that word, and I'll never forget it. Again, Mr. Jerry Hansen, and the reason I bring them up twice is we have become long friends through all the help that he gave me over the years, working schools, laughing, crying, whatever it might be. And Jerry and Sue have been part of our family, and we hope we're part of theirs. Last but not least in that group is a gentleman that everybody has to have. If you've been in any position whatsoever, you hope that the person that you're responsible for will give you the opportunity to do your thing. That doesn't mean you're not going to argue. That doesn't mean that you're not going to come out and have a sad face on. But again, they've got to keep trusting you. And I always felt that Kevin Ryan had a tremendous amount of trust in me, and as I did in him. We worked together for 19 years, and I think, hopefully, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. We could sit there and talk about a lot of different topics, and I won't mention them, and agree and disagree. But he's a leader, and most of all, I call him my friend. Luckily, we've had, in closing, I'd like to recognize friends of mine who have come a long way just to share this moment with me, and it's unbelievable. Mr. Leo Blatz and Mr. Jude Kyle, Leo was one of my first umpiring partners, and I learned to have a good time with Leo Blatz. The next couple that are here, very good friends. We officiated football and basketball together. Mr. Bruce Hoffman and his lovely wife Linda. Bruce is a heck of a guy, great family man, and will always be my friend. Has helped me in a lot of different areas, especially in football. We had a great time when we worked together. One of the individuals that were not able to make it here tonight is my best friend for 60 years, Bill Zabel. He made the right decision. His wife Arlene is not doing well, and so he's going to stay home with her. Bill, thank you for being a friend. My family, my daughter Karen is here with us, and I'm so glad that she came here. She's a teacher, and was able to take some time off just to share it with me, and it means the world to me. Also, her husband, Greg, could not be here with us. He's quite a softball coach and has done a terrific job. My granddaughter, Ella, who we're very, very proud of, is a freshman at Canisius University and will be playing softball there. And also my grandson, Carter, who is a lacrosse player, and we understand he'll be in the tournament tomorrow. So that's my family. Did I leave out somebody? No, I'm not going to leave her out. 50 years. We've been married 50 years. As of this June, she supported me through the whole time, being my friend, my partner, and kicking me in the butt when I needed it, which is an awful lot. So, my wife Barbara, and I love you, dear, and I appreciate all that you've done. Finally, wishing all of you safe travels, wherever you're going to go back to. When I was 18 years old, I went into the service, and there was two old men from Mississippi, been in the service 19 years, and they kind of liked me, and I was scared to death being aboard ship. And they told me one thing, they were always happy, and they said one thing to me, and Julie liked it, many of us liked it, and I've used this kind of as something when I'm a little bit down, or maybe I'm not down. I always think, every day, every day is a holiday, and every meal is a banquet. Well, I wish to all of you have many holidays and many banquets. Thank you very much.
To be honest, Jim, when you're going through your family, you got to the end there, and I thought, boy, he's not going to forget Barb, is he? Nice save. Well done. Well done. Our next inductee is one of the top men's slow pitch players that was feared by many an opponent, Ray Fleetwood. Another threat at the plate in the slow pitch game, Ray Fleetwood blasted over 2,000 home runs in his 26-year career from 1969 to 1994. With over 100 home runs hit in a single season for 11 consecutive years from 1971 to 1981, Fleetwood earned 4 All-American honors and was named to the 1970 All-Decade team, in addition to an honorable mention to the All-Century team. Additional honors include being named the Smoky Mountain Classic Co-MVP and Oklahoma ASA Co-Player of the Year in 1975. Again, one of the most feared hitters in the men's slow pitch game. Tonight, Ray Fleetwood becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Ray Fleetwood.
Special thanks to my angel mama, Deborah. tonight. Also here are my good friends Keith and Chrissy Rockman. Without Keith, Mike Machenko, and Steve Dimitri, this would not be happening. I started playing softball as a 19-year-old in 1968. I went to the National ASA tournament in Parma, Ohio in 1969 in Jones Beach, New York. I was hooked. 1976 was my next national with Warren Motors in Jacksonville, Florida. We won. The team had 4 All-Americans, Mike Nye, Ronnie Ford, Bruce Meade, and now finally me. That was the first 4 batters. We went 94-2 and won 78 games before a loss. Still a record. Tom's Food from Columbus, Georgia beat us both times. At 76 years old, I am the oldest living slow pitch softball player to be inducted. I was often asked if I was in the Hall of Fame, and my answer was, I've always been in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame is right here. I said, people that I played with and against knew I was a player. People asked if I remembered any of the home runs I hit. I said, I only remembered 3 that I did and 1 I did. 2 that I didn't would have sent us to the national tournament. And 1 I didn't was win a national tournament. The one I hit I remembered was in Texas. And Al White, who needs to be in his Hall of Fame, was walked intentionally to get to bad move. First pitch was hit over the light poles. In closing, I read on Legends of Softball a comment, but somebody asked him why people were always talking about people from the 60s, 70s, and the 80s. My response was, without these players, there would not have been a future. Too many players forgot. I have many stories to tell, and not enough time. But I'm not shy to answer any of it. Thanks again for the USA Hall of Fame.
Our next inductee of the night is one of the top women's slow pitch players to step foot on the ball diamond. Sue Ilyes' love of softball spans a 35-year playing career for teams in the Pennsylvania area, including York Bartlettes and the Lakerettes. A standout infielder who excelled defensively and offensively, Ilyes earned 13 All-American honors, 4 of which came in back-to-back years, while helping her team to 26 national championship appearances and 2 national titles. A highlight of her career came in 1998 when she earned the MVP honors, as well as the defensive MVP at the Women's Major Slow Pitch National Championship. She also has the second most Women's Major Slow Pitch All-American honors of anyone in the history other than the legendary Kristen Dolly. Tonight, Sue becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Sue Ilyes.
how's everybody doing tonight? I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight and sharing this incredible evening with us. Congrats to all the other inductees on this prestigious award as well. Thank you to everyone associated with USA Softball for hosting us. It's just been a great weekend. This has come a full circle for me. I was invited to come along with 3 other Barbalet teammates here in 1981 to play in the first annual Hall of Fame Classic game. It was the defending national champs, Howard Furniture Rubions, against the All-Americans from the previous national tournament, which our team finished second. We had a great team that actually beat the defending champs, so that was definitely a highlight of the weekend. We were then invited to this banquet, which was absolutely awesome. After experiencing all this, my passion for the sport grew even more, which I thought couldn't even happen. I've been truly blessed throughout my career playing with some of the most talented ball players in the country and having lifelong friendships, which I'll cherish forever. To have all those national championships to our name speaks volumes to the talent we had. A big thank you to every single teammate and their families I've played with over the years, because success comes as a team, and I played on some of the best teams in the country. Having supportive sponsors is also very important. I played for Bob Hoffman of York Barbell and Art Hoover of the Lake Reds. Without their support, this may never happen for me. We've also sponsored ourselves for a couple of seasons, which they were some tough years, but through a lot of fundraisers, we grew closer as friends and teammates, and we had a better understanding of what it took to play at the highest level. Our sponsors were truly incredible, but it comes from having strong leaders, coaches, and mentors that showed us the right way to play ball. Play with dignity, honor, and respect to everyone around us. I've had some of the best knowledgeable coaches in the game. The most influential coaches, to name a few: Donnie, Joe, George, Eric, and Claire. To Art Hoover, who picked myself up with 3 other ball players, thank you so much for extending my career and adding us to the Lake Red team and family. But this award is being dedicated to the most influential person, coach in my life, and that would be my father, Jerry Corcoran, one of the best minds in softball. He always set us up for success. He knew the game inside and out. Now, you know, any daughter of a coach knows how challenging that can be, but we never had that problem. We knew what we had to do to win, and we always focused on that. He was a great player as well. When I was young, his teammates would tell him to get me off the field. He said, hey, just leave her alone. Someday she might be good. Last but not least, to my family and friends. My sons, Justin and Brandon, my daughter-in-laws, Jenna and Rebecca, and my grandson, Maddox, Rowan, and little Connor. My husband, Donnie, who is my PR guy. And Sherry Ann, thank you so much for your support. A huge thank you to Steve Dimitri, who has been very, very instrumental in all of this. Enjoy the rest of the evening. Thank you so much, and God bless.
Our 5th inductee for the 2023 Hall of Fame class is an individual that has represented ASA, now USA Softball, to the highest degree at all levels. Doug Lindaman's career spans 37 years on the USA Softball Council, which included various appointments on the Hall of Fame Committee, the Men's National Team Selection Committee, Fast Pitch Playing Rules Committee, and the Player Representative Committee. In addition to Lindaman's committee involvement, he also served in various positions for the USA Softball National Teams program, including team manager for the USA Softball Men's National Team at the 1995 International Softball Federation World Championship and USA Softball Junior Men's National Team at the 2000 ISF World Championship. Doug is a well-respected person in the softball arena. He's a dedicated professional, set high standards when involved with anything. He was also a mentor to me and now working on the Hall of Fame committee, and just a true friend and person that I admire. Tonight, Doug becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Lindaman.
Thank you, Stu. Appreciate those kind words. Congratulations to all of tonight's inductees. They're a very impressive group that I'm lucky to be associated with. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee, and especially to Chairman Stu Alderman. Also, a big thank you to Morgan Palmer from the National Office for coordinating all the details of this induction. And thanks to Molly Green, Special Events Manager, for the great stadium tour that she gave our group of about 20 people this morning. I'm very humbled and honored tonight, and I have a lot of other people to thank, so bear with me. Many of those people are here supporting me tonight. That starts with my sister Joyce and her spouse Deb, our son Jeff and Chelsea, his wife, and our son Steve. Most importantly, Rosie, my wife, and rock of our family, who was unwavering in her support of all my fast-pitch softball endeavors. I love you, Rosebud, and thank you to all my family for being here. Additionally, there are numerous former teammates and spouses who drove from Iowa to support me. Scott and Marilyn O'Brien, Mike and Christy Fairbanks, Rod and Julie Radcliffe, Kirk and Mary Peterson, Rick and Teresa Kroll, Reese Dodd, Jim Motes, and Butch and Nancy Sauerbry, who drove from northern Minnesota to be here tonight. We went through a lot together as teammates and now lifelong friends, and the personal sacrifices you all made to be here tonight means more to me than you will ever know. Thank you all. Additionally, some friends who had planned to be here could not, and I certainly want to recognize them. Neil and Kim Tinney, Russ and Bonnie Bonzoff. Dear friends, Dick and Jane Hoffman from Florida. And special guest Mike Williams from Iowa, who showed up unexpectedly. So Mike, thanks for being here. Our teammates all miss brothers Kevin and Kendall Bars, great teammates of ours who were both tragically killed in traffic accidents. Joey, our teammates, Barzy and Buck have enjoyed tonight. Additionally, there are numerous other people I could thank, but my time is limited. How could a farm kid from a small Iowa town get into the Hall of Fame? Let me give you the story. The guy I just mentioned, who drove from Minnesota, Butch Sauerbry, he was my high school baseball coach. He was also a pitcher on the local fast pitch team in Geneva and managed the team as well. So after high school, I played on that team during my college years. After 2 years in the U.S. Army, I rejoined the team. By the late 1970s, 3 softball developments converged to influence the direction of my experience with USA Softball. Number 1 was when Butch decided to retire from managing our Geneva Grain team. With his encouragement, I began a new role as player and manager of the Geneva Green Fast Pitch Softball Club. The second development was USA Softball's effort to get softball in the Olympics. The U.S. Olympic Committee mandated more input from the players into rulemaking and other decisions of the organization, rather than just from the commissioners who made up the National Council at that time. So a system of regional player representatives was begun. The third development was USA Softball's decision to allow Iowa's major state champion to advance directly to the national tournament, bypassing the regional tournament. Iowa was a hotbed of men's fast pitch at the time, with powerful teams in Des Moines, Cedar Rapids, Sioux City, Clear Lake, and other cities. Our Iowa commissioner wanted a state player representative who was not part of one of those power teams, and yet was passionate about the game. Because our Geneva team had success winning state titles at the Class A and B levels, he knew of our team's reputation and my interest and passion. He appointed me to be the Iowa player representative. At that time, USA Softball was divided into 15 geographic regions. Our Mid-America region consisted of Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, and Missouri, along with metro organizations in St. Louis, Kansas City, and Omaha. Commissioners and player reps from each of those 7 associations met in Kansas City, and at that meeting, I was elected to represent the region, becoming one of the first 15 player representatives to vote at the National Council meeting in 1980. So the 3 developments that I just mentioned came together in near perfect timing and luck. Though intimidating at first, through serving on the National Council, I gained experience that eventually resulted in national committee assignments and chairmanships. All my work with USA Softball was on a volunteer basis, and meanwhile, while still managing our team locally back home, we were quite successful, winning 5 state titles at the Class A and B levels, playing competitively, and occasionally beating those major teams in Iowa. Being a member of the men's national team selection committee was especially gratifying. Our 5-man committee evaluated players and coaches from across the country, invited them to tryout camps, and selected the players who represented the USA at international events, such as the Pan Am Games and World Championships. I was able to work with dedicated committee members like Cliff Warwick, Warren Jones, Bob Welby, Dan Hyland, and Avon Beecham. I was able to observe the outstanding coaching talent of men like Russ Boyce, Tom Weidman, Denny Bruckert, Pete Turner, and Tim Lyon. I was able to admire the fantastic playing ability of athletes like Peter Meredith, Jimmy Moore, Michael White, Bill Boyer, and Chris Miljavin, along with fellow Iowans like Pete Sandman, Todd Quatchman, and Matt Palazzo. Many of the aforementioned committee members, coaches, and players are already Hall of Fame members. On this, the 90-year anniversary of USA Softball, I am humbled and honored to join this exclusive club of fewer than 500 people. I've been blessed with a supporting family and a wife who has been my biggest cheerleader. I've been blessed with great teammates and lifelong friends who've been a big part of this journey as well. As honored as I am to be only the 3rd native Iowan to be voted into the Hall of Fame, still the biggest thrill in my career was to be able to play fast pitch softball alongside our 2 sons, Jeff and Steve. When they were in college in the early 2000s, the 3 of us playing together on that same diamond, in that same small town, for that same Geneva Grain Fast Pitch Softball Club where I started, priceless. Thank you.
next inductee is an umpire who has proved to be one of the most respected during his storied career. Selected for his experience in the umpire category is Joe Massaro, with an umpiring career that kick-started in the 1970s and continued for 38 years. Massaro began umpiring in 1979, which saw a career that featured 7 national championships and the Women's Major Fast Pitch Championship game in 1994, 96, and 2000. He also worked men's major fast pitch and slow pitch, women's masters fast pitch, and men's modified pitch, while attaining his elite status, gold level in the medals program, and being a member of the National Indicator Fraternity. Joe has also worked several ISF tournaments, as well as various Olympic-level events. Massaro's contributions as an umpire also earned him selections into the ASA Union County Hall of Fame in 2009 and the ASA New Jersey State Hall of Fame. Tonight, Joe becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Massaro.
Nervous as hell. Remember before a tournament, Henry Pollard would say, if you're not nervous, there's something wrong. But then you go behind the plate, get the first pitch, and then we're all good to go. This is a little different. So I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame committee and my commissioner, Mr. Michael Warner, for his continued support. Thank you to all the current inductees this year as well. I've actually umpired for 40 years. My first 2 years were not with USA Softball. They're at the high school level. My very first high school game was a 30-0, 4.5 inning game. I called the assigner and I said, please don't send any more softball games. Obviously, that's he didn't listen. There are so many people I could thank, and I'm sure I'll probably leave someone out. I actually started out as a scorekeeper in Elizabeth, New Jersey, in the recreation department. Worked summer playgrounds, worked basketball leagues, scorekeeping, and softball. Being a baseball fan, I was suddenly interested in umpiring. I took my first umpire test with a gentleman by the name of Chris Bolwich. He eventually became the mayor of Elizabeth. He called me the other day and I told him, Chris, I only made half the people unhappy with my calls. I'd like to thank my very first mentor who is here with me tonight, with his wife, Mr. Ray Ortel. Still a good friend. We get to golf once in a while. Ray told me he was a scratch golfer, and I said, really? He said, yeah, I scratch my head every time I hit the ball. As I moved up the ladder a little bit, where my deputy UIC from New Jersey, Jimmy Powers, and our state UIC, Dick Archer, pillars of softball in the community. These gentlemen, through their classroom instructions, rules meetings, field practicals, not only mentored me, they taught me how to manage the game. Subsequently, their recommendation to our then Commissioner George Crone and his approval started me in the leadership with championship play events such as state, regional, and national qualifying tournaments. Then came the opportunity for a national championship for myself, first one, which meant National Umpire School and then later Advanced Umpire School. Great opportunities to meet and learn from the real greats of the game. Tony Walsh, Bill Humphrey, Henry Pollard, Norm Davis, Jerry Hansen. I learned many a time. I leaned on another friend many times, another Hall of Fame member, the late Nixon Quanto from Philadelphia, whose confidence and self-assurance in me allowed me to just relax, told me I was fine, And they may not have thought I was always listening, but I was. And I just tried to stay under the radar, do my job as an umpire, and not be in the limelight. Several people in the Mid-Atlantic region that I had the pleasure of working with. My good friend and former District Commissioner Keith Benevengo, who I know is with me in spirit tonight. Bob Brown, former UIC from New York City. Today, 30 years later, has not just become someone who's helped me umpire, he worked with me, he let me be a part of a leadership team, and became my best friend. Former Metro Buffalo Commissioner, the late Ed Lindsay, and fellow inductee Jim Craig. His assistant, Eric Mitt. They always welcomed me with open arms and the opportunity to work with their umpires. All great learning experiences. My fellow slow pitch counterpart from South Jersey, or as he calls it, God's country, Bob Lauder. We'd spend many a time on the phone discussing rules, differences in fast pitch and slow pitch, and we continue learning discussions even to this day. 7 national tournaments, 3 international tournaments. I've been lucky and I've been overwhelmed. I hope I learned from every umpire who's worked with me the same way I helped other people along the way. Real Hall of Famers. My wife for 42 years, and my children, whose vacations were stuck in hotel rooms and evolved around Dad's traveling and umpire schedule. Although there got a point where my wife said, I'm not picking you up at the airport anymore. Or if they didn't make the trip, she was packing the kids in the car and picking me up at the airport. To all my other friends and family, for the events that I may have missed or been late for, they're my Hall of Famers. When I decided to retire, several people asked me to stay on for a couple of more years. They said, how old are you? I said, 58. They said, well, come on, you're 60. You can go to your 60. You got to have 2 more years again. And I said, I'd rather go out 2 years too early than 2 years too late. So all that I have to say, have a good night. Thank you.
Our next inductee was one of the top softball teams in the slow pitch game, Sikorsky Aircraft. Sikorsky Aircraft earned its place in the National Softball Hall of Fame in the newly added team category after fielding one of the most dominant men's slow pitch teams for more than 50 years. Sikorsky Aircraft qualified for the national tournament 46 times with 19 titles, finishing runner-up 8 times, and finishing in the top 5 35 times. Led by Hall of Fame members Eugene Koylek and Ken Clark, Sikorsky Aircraft had more than 50 players earn All-American honors, totaling more than 200 selections. Tonight, the Sikorsky Aircraft team becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Accepting the award on behalf of Sikorsky Aircraft, please welcome Mr. Mark Tremblay.
But I'm not the speaker for tonight. Ed Mazika and Doug Mays are going to do the speaking. And Ray, you're not alone. I get as emotional as you. So I'm going to be quick, and hopefully I can get through this. Before I start, I'd like to mention some of the team players that came with us tonight. Please, when I call your name, stand up. Jeff Toney, best player I've ever played with. Steve Rivers, hit the longest home runs I've ever seen. Jeff's brother, John Toney. Ed Musica, standing behind me. Doug May, standing behind me. Mark Mahalik, Al Deja and Victoria, Pete Kruger, Richie Dow, Eric Kramer, and Bill Fellis all came with us tonight. Thank you so much. It's a tremendous honor to stand at the stage. Congratulations, fellow inductees. I'd like to thank Hank Korokowski, Jessica Caro, the National Hall of Fame Committee. It's no surprise to me that the Sikorsky team is being inducted into the United States National Hall of Fame, and not any of the team players, although many have the credentials to be inducted. The reason I'm not surprised is because we stuck together as a team. We always played as a team. We never gave up. We never quit. And we did what was best for the team. All of us were able to hit home runs, but we didn't do so just because we could do it. Stats didn't matter as long as we won the game. And we all played for the team. The team came first, and we all knew it. And I want to give you a quick example of what I'm talking about. National Tournament Championship in 2000 in Stratford, Connecticut, against a team called Storm School. They jumped on a 17-3 in the third inning. Because we played together as a team, we used our limited home runs wisely, and we beat them 44-32 in 6 innings. On behalf of my coaches, my teammates, my wife, who's allowed me to play softball all these years. Now that I don't play anymore, she's allowed me to do bass fishing with the boys back home from Housatonic Valley Bassmasters. And I appreciate that. I've even played and won 2 national tournaments with my son, Mark Jr., on the team. It's an honor to be standing on this stage. It's an honor to accept this award, team induction, into the United States Hall of Fame. Thank you very much. I'm going to introduce Ed Mazika.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ed Mazika. Myself, along with Doug Mays, and you just heard from Mark, have the honor of saying a few words about the Sikorsky Aircraft softball team, the first team to be inducted into the USA National Softball Hall of Fame. I'd like to start by thanking the Hall of Fame Selection Committee for this tremendous honor, and also congratulate all of the other Hall of Fame recipients, especially Coach John Stratton from our home state of Connecticut. Speaking on behalf of Sikorsky Aircraft, we are humbled by the fact that never in a million years did any of the players or coaches ever think our company softball team from Stratford, Connecticut would someday be enshrined in the National Hall of Fame. As mentioned earlier, the Sikorsky Aircraft team played in 43 major industrial national tournaments. The first was in 1968. We were 19-time national champions, 7 times runners-up. Our first national championship was in 1979. We won 7 straight national championships from 1992 through 1998, and 10 championships in 11 years from 92 through 2002. Our team in the 90s never took national championship wins for granted. It was always about being a great teammate and giving 100% each and every game. Our wins and national championships during that time have endured and sustained over the decades. In time, all of us will find the words to thank every teammate we played with. But it goes without saying that we would not be getting this unbelievable honor without some very important people who have passed and will not be able to enjoy this distinction with us. Coaches Ken Clark and Gene Qualick, both National Hall of Fame members, along with Coach Harry Zielinski, are looking down right now with big smiles on their faces. I'd also like to send a quick shout out to our fellow teammates and families watching this induction ceremony on live stream, and also a couple of guys who were unable to attend because of illness, Tom DiBernardo and Coach Ed Sikorsky. We love you guys and wish you were here. Thank you for your time.
First of all, I didn't believe we'd be here. Congratulations. Congratulations to all the inductees tonight. The honor I feel knowing that my teammates and I are here getting inducted as part of the 2023 class into the National Softball Hall of Fame in Oklahoma City is beyond what words can describe. As we know, no one gets to the Hall of Fame alone, but we prove a team can get here together, no matter what. Play together, work together. It's a privilege to be honored as a team. We would win, lose, although not often, with dignity and grace. The Sikorsky team was not just a team, but family and friends forever. There are many special moments that came from playing together. Not all of them were from our time on the field, and that's what we'll always remember. One of the great memories was in 1998. We were asked to play in a charity softball tournament with David Cohen and all the Yankees in Central Park. There were teams like Adidas, Chase Manhattan Bank, current baseball players in the past, Joe Frank Torrey, Bob Gibson, Derek Jeter, Tim McCarver, David Wells. We played 5 games and outscored every other team 95-5. The most memorable part of that was when after the dinner, David Cohen made a speech, and he looked out at us and he said, there was one team out there tonight that probably could have beat the 1927 Murderers Row Yankees, and that was Sikorsky Aircraft. We did not talk about stats or individual awards, but the relationships and achievements that we created mutually as a team. What separated us from the other team was our intangibles. I can tell you one thing. One of our traditions was Harry Zielinski walking up to the field with boombox on his shoulder with the Van Halen song playing right now. Every other team hated hearing that song because they knew they were going to have to play us. We played this game we loved as a team and demonstrated that a team that executed the best on a team would win, on the field would win. Our wins in the national championships have endured and sustained over the decades. Like most teams, we come up against opponents who put 10 or 15 runs up on us. The difference was, we were a team that never gave up, not until the last out of the 7th inning. We never looked down the road and said, hey, someday we're going to head into the Hall of Fame. Our team in the 90s never took any national championships for granted. It was always about playing every game 100%, and when we win, we made sure not to rub it in our opponents' faces, and to the honor of Kip, would always say, act like you've been here before, and we did. In fact, after we win a game, our leader, Kip, would tell us to meet on the porch of the complex. To us, that was the part of the porch outside of the dugouts in the complex. Kip would have us all form into a circle, and he would all put our hands in the center and ask, where's this team from? And we would say the town, state, whatever. And Kip would answer, well, let's color them in a color. And he found a color that was appropriate, whether it be magenta, salmon, indigo, teal, burgundy, you get the point. Well, I'm going to end by saying tonight, I'll tell you one thing, guys, every other team is green with envy. Thank you very much.
Another first has to be the fact that we just mentioned colors like teal, salmon, and what have you, along with the band Van Halen in an acceptance speech. That's awesome. Awesome. Wow. Our next inductee is considered by many to be one of the top managers in the women's game of softball, John Stratton. Enshrined for his impact as a manager and coach, John Stratton garners over 40 years with the Rebesta Stratford Breakettes program, 28 of which he spent as the team manager, with more to come as he continues his tenure with the squad. Under his tutelage, the Breakettes have won over 2,300 games with a dazzling .917 winning percentage, 16 national championships. Leading many standout athletes over the years, Stratton coached Hall of Famers Joan Joyce and Sue Enquist, both of which have made their mark on the sport of softball across the board. Tonight, John Stratton becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, John Stratton.
Wow. You've heard the saying, be in the right place at the right time. Well, I keep thinking, if I was born in Brooklyn or lived in Brooklyn instead of Stratford, Connecticut, I wouldn't be here tonight. I happen to live right next to Sikorsky Airport, so I know Sikorsky pretty well. Yeah, and I've been watching him play for many years. Other Stratford people. A couple of different ways to get awards. Two different ways. One, you go out here in like a national tournament or a batting crown or something like that. And the other way to receive an award is through the hard work and kindness of other people, such as this one. So I want to thank the USA Softball for giving me the award of the highest honor in softball. Thank you, USA Softball. I went over to the Hall of Fame Museum today, my first trip, and I walked through it, I lived through it, and I saw so many names. Some I watched as a fan, some I played with, some I played against, some I coached, and of course one I married. You always have to thank a lot of people and congratulate a lot of people when you've been in the game this long. And I congratulate all the recipients of tonight's program. They've done a great job over the years. Some I've known, some I've never seen before. And I just congratulate you. I congratulate all the past winners in the Hall of Fame. It's really something special. When you've been in the game as long as I have, there's so many people you have to thank. At my age, some of the people I have to think have all died, so I can't mention all those names. But for me being here tonight, there's a few people I'd like to mention. Number one, my partner, Bob Barry, for something like 35 years. He and I have tried to keep fast pitch softball going in the Northeast, and it's very hard sometimes. We work very hard at it. But Bob and I have worked hard at it for many years. He's done a great job as the general manager of the Breakheads, and he passed away about 4 or 5 months ago, and I miss him. The other person I thank for me being here tonight is Hank Varakowski, the commissioner, softball commissioner from Connecticut. I also want to thank all the people who wrote beautiful letters about me and sent it to the selection committee for me to be here tonight. And as I read some of those letters, some of those people are going to have to go to confession. Because I said, I can't believe some of that stuff. But the person I really want to thank is a woman named Kathy Gage. Kathy Gage has meant everything to me. In the last couple of years, I wouldn't have been able to coach if I didn't have Kathy Gage. Bob Beard wouldn't have been able to be general manager to his job because she did everything. She made 2 folders or 2 notebooks filled with pictures, and she solicited all the beautiful letters, and she's worked so hard, and incredible the amount of work that she put into this. So I thank you, Kathy. I know she's listening. She's not here tonight, and she'll always be in my Hall of Fame. I always wonder what you want to tell people, what kind of a story. Because I've got 1,000 stories that I can tell about the Breakheads. over the years. I'm going to give you my story and how my trip began and progressed in softball. It all started in 1947. Some of you weren't even born then, obviously a lot of you weren't. And the Rebestos Company built this beautiful softball field called Rebestos Memorial Field. And it was dedicated to the men who were killed in the Second World War that had worked at Rebestos. It was a gorgeous field. But they also started at that same time the original Little League, and I played in that Little League. And they formed the Rebestos Cardinals, the men's team, and of course the Breakettes. My dad said to me one night after one of the Little League games I had played, he said, "Do you want to stay and watch the women play tonight?" And I said, "Women play fast pitch softball?" He said, "Yeah." And I've been watching fast pitch softball since I was 5 years old. So we went to the game. It was terrific. It was Rusty and Punksy and Wally and Chick and Petey. And I said, "These guys are really good." So I went out to the field. It took a lot of courage, a 10-year-old boy in a baseball uniform, and be a bat boy for the girls' team. But I did. I said, "You want a bat boy?" He said, "Yeah, we'd like to have you." I wasn't a bat boy for 2 minutes. The ball was flying out into foul territory. And he said, "John, go get that ball." He said, "The pitcher really likes that ball." You know, pitchers are pretty fussy, and you get used to that. And that's what I did. But so for the next few years, I was a part-time bat boy and a full-time ball chaser at Rebestos Field. You've heard of gym rats? Well, I was a Rebestos Field rat. For my pay, they would give me a softball, maybe 2 softballs. What am I going to do with a softball, the baseball player? I'd take it home, and my mother had a chest of drawers in the kitchen, and I'd throw the balls in there. Okay? I want to tell you a story, go back a little bit. In 1952, Stratton hosted the first tournament to come to Connecticut, national tournament. It was a men's tournament. And 20 or so teams from all over the United States came into play. And I watched every one of these games, and I chased foul balls. To me, it was like fast pitch softball Disney Worlds. Some of the men that played in that tournament are in the Hall of Fame. We had Zoner Pistons and Dow Chemical and Clearwater Bombers and the Oklahoma Cowboys, Club 500. Incredible players. But one person shined above everybody else. That person's name was Johnny Spring. Probably the greatest pitcher in softball history was Johnny Spring. And he pitched Briggs Beautyware to the national championship. And you wonder why, and I'll bring in why I mentioned Johnny Spring's name. My mother comes to me, she said, "I need the space, get rid of those softballs." So, okay, I had over 200 softballs in there. So the only thing I could do was to learn how to pitch and start my own team, which I did. And luck would have it, for some reason, Johnny Spring turned up in a Rebestos Cardinal uniform. Who am I going to learn how to pitch from? Johnny Spring. Why not learn from the best? So I went to Johnny Spring for some lessons and learned how to pitch. I met Joan Joyce, taking the lessons from the same person. And I did pretty well. I learned how to pitch pretty well. Tony Joyce learned how to pitch pretty well, too. Anyway, I ended up playing with a lot of men's teams. And especially I played with 3 of the Rebestos teams at one time. But the main thing I did, I pitched batting practice for the Breakettes whenever I had a chance. I was always involved with the Breakettes. The games that I pitched against other teams, I thought I was a batting practice pitcher because they were killing me by then. So pitching batting practice was a good out for me. Anyway, in 1969 and 70, the Breakettes went into the national tournament undefeated in the final game, only to lose 2 and lose the championship to Orange, California Lionettes. I guess Rebestos got upset and they blamed it on the assistant coach under Ralph Raymond, and they fired him. A little while later, Joe Barber calls me in his office. Now, Joe Barber was the president of the ASA and also the general manager of the Breakettes. And he said, John, would you like to be a coach of the Breakettes under Ralph Raymond? He said, take some time to think about it. And I said, yeah. 10 seconds later, I said, yes. Well, the first year with the team, we went undefeated, hit 51-0, and we won 8 national titles in a row. I took the 80s off to watch my son play baseball. I returned to the Breakettes in 1990. Ralph Raymond was still a manager. In 94, he retired. So in 1995, I became the manager of the Breakettes. And the rest is history. It's been a great ride. It's been a great ride. Over the years, I coached at Florida Atlantic with Joan Joyce and the Breakettes. Had a chance to visit almost every state and several foreign countries. I've met some and made some wonderful softball friends, including umpires. And I've had a chance to work with some incredibly talented athletes, like one that's here tonight. Everybody's Hall of Famer, Diane Schumacher, sitting right here tonight, was one of my players back in 1976 in a great tournament. 1995, we picked up a new sponsor. His name was Dr. David Carpenter, a wealthy businessman from Westport, Connecticut. He owned 2 minor league baseball teams. And after a while, he sold both teams, baseball teams, because he liked the sport of softball better. He loved the Breakettes. Ill health shortened his tenure as a sponsor. But he told me one night, he said, John, he said, I think women's fast pitch softball is the perfect game. And I hope it never changes. Me too. Thank you, USA Softball.
Our final inductee for the 2023 Hall of Fame class is considered by many to be one of the top slow pitch players in the men's softball arena. Known as one of the top hitters in the 1980s and 90s, Monty Tucker slugged over 2,000 home runs during his career, with over 100 tallied in a single season 9 times during a 10-year span, including 413 during the 1987 season. His dominance at the plate earned him 4 All-American honors and honorable mentions to the 1980 and 1990 All-Decade teams, as well as the All-Century team. One of Monty's outstanding years was in 1990 at the Men's Super National, where he batted 23 for 26, an 880 batting average, with 18 home runs, 26 RBIs, and 27 runs scored. That's also included being named the tournament MVP that year. Monty's played at the highest level of softball for more than 20 years and was a definite force on the diamond. Tonight, Monty becomes a member of the National Softball Hall of Fame, now and forever. Ladies and gentlemen, Monty Tucker.
How's it going? I want to congratulate all the inductees. You've done something right to be invited into this fraternity. You ought to be proud of it. Also want to thank the Lord above for giving me the ability to compete at this sport on the highest level. Without him, I could have never done it. I also want to thank my family. My mom and dad are no longer with us, but the support they gave me was unmatched. We're old country people, and if they could get in the car and drive to where my team was playing, that's where they went. My wife, Suzanne, will be married 42 years in February, and she kept the family going while I was on the road. I traveled extensively, one winter for 1 year. I was in my house for 9 days, and she raised my son. So, thank you for that. I told her that before I left. She kept the family running and let me pursue my dream. I'll never forget her for that. I want to thank the USA Softball Hall of Fame Committee for inviting me to be a member of this exclusive club. Andy, Warren, you guys got a hard job to do with that committee, but this year you did a great job. Thank you. Very humbling. It's almost surreal for me. So I want to thank you for everything you've done for me. Morgan Palmer lining up this has just been amazing. Emily, I met yesterday. We're already good friends. So just class, man. Everybody in this organization is class. I told these guys at the table, I feel like I'm in a family when I'm here. And that's a good feeling. Last but not least, I would like to thank Dave Neal Sr. and Denny Helmick from Steel Sports, who gave me my shot at the top rung. And it worked out pretty good. So they're both not with us anymore, but they were special people. I want to thank Terry Perryman, who's an ex-teammate of mine, and his wife Kathy for coming up and seeing me today. Nice to see you, man. Too many sponsors, too many players. I can't thank everybody. It's just too many people. But I have enjoyed it immensely. I get asked this all the time. If you had a choice, would you do it again? And my answer is absolutely. So I want to thank all of you that had anything to do with this. And it's been real. So thank you.
Well, what a fantastic evening. Hearing stories and memories from years past of outstanding play and commitment to the game of softball. Let's give all of our 2023 Hall of Fame class one more round of applause. As some of the inductees said, you are now part of the USA Softball family. A couple items of note. Those of you who did win auction items or were announced earlier before, please go next door to see Reagan Rogers. She's standing at the back, but when we're done, please see her so that you can pick up your item and make sure you pay her. She wants money. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge some outstanding individuals who have been instrumental for this event. First of all, Hall of Fame committee members, thank you. The National Office staff members, as was mentioned before, Emily Moore, for your hard work, and Morgan Palmer, which I understand you are probably watching here tonight. She just left us a week ago. She put in an insurmountable amount of work leading up to this Hall of Fame banquet. We thank you for all of your hard work behind the scenes, making this event a success. The Hall of Fame committee met earlier today to determine the class of 2024. The following individuals have been selected. First, Mike Boland, slow pitch player. Don Cooper, head coach. Peterbilt Payenpak in the team category. Charlie Richard, fast pitch player. Pete Sandman, fast pitch player. Cheryl Tretnell, slow pitch player. Jody Trimmer, slow pitch player. Michael Wolf, umpire. And Andrew Mighty Joe Young III, slow pitch player. We hope to see everyone here next October for the Hall of Fame banquet. Thank you to everyone for attending tonight's banquet.